unit basically is talking about the living organisms. And as you know, living organisms, they can be animals or plants. And we have different animals and different plants. Some scientists, they are interested to know and study more about the living organisms. So they decide to put them in groups to be easy for them to study. One of these scientists is called Carl Linnaeus. Carl Linnaeus is a Swedish scientist. He is the first one to classify the living organisms. And also he developed a system called the Linnaeus system of taxonomic classification. In 1735, he put Linnaeus naming system to name something called species. Scientists group the living organisms into different kinds called species. And the word species means a group of organisms that all share the same characteristics and features. And if we are going to talk about the characteristics and features, we need to know that characteristics means a feature in an organism. This feature, you can see it like hair color, eye color, skin color, body shape, shoe size, and height, weight. All of these things are characteristics. And some of the characteristics you cannot see it, like the blood groups. Okay, as you can see here in the picture, there are two squirrels. These two squirrels, they have similar features and characteristics, like they are living in the same place, they are eating in the same way, they are adapted to live in their habitat in the same way, they are standing on two legs, and they have one strap on their body. So they have similar or same features. That's why we are putting them in the same species. Okay. Species here, it has another definition. It is a group of similar organisms that can breed with one another and produce fertile offspring. And fertile here means capable of producing offspring or babies. And infertile, it is the opposite of it, which means not being able to have children. So this means if we have two animals from the same species and they breed together, they can reproduce to bring offspring. This offspring will be fertile. So it will have more babies. Like here, we have the family of tigers. This family, it has a male and female from the same species. So if you look at their babies, they look like them. But if we have living organisms from different species, they will not be able to breed together. This happens most of the time. But rarely, some organisms from different species, they can breed together. And this might happen in the zoo. When there are two animals from different species, they are put in the same enclosure together. They have to breed, but their offspring will be infertile and it will be called hybrid. For example, if we have male lion, we put it in the same enclosure with a female tiger. They will breed and they will reproduce to bring a hybrid animal called liger. This liger is infertile, which means it will not be able to reproduce. And if you look at it, it has the face shape of the lion and it has the straps of the female tiger. Carl, in 1735, he decided to give every species a two-word Latin name. His system meant that every scientist could use the same name for the same species. And we're still using his system today. The Latin name of species are written in italics. And italics is a font type, which I wrote the word italics on the board with it. Now we have some examples, like the Latin name of our species is Homo sapiens. And sapiens here means thinking. So our Latin name means thinking humans. A killer whale has the Latin name Orcinius orca. All humans have different combinations of characteristics, which means we all look different. For example, these people all are from the same species, Homo sapiens. But how many differences between them can you spot? Yes, a lot. Some of them are males, some of them are females. They have different hair color, they have different skin color, and also their face shape is different. So this means there are some differences between the individuals of the same species, which means variation. So variation here, it is the differences between the individuals of the same species. Now we are going to talk about the frequency diagram. Frequency diagram is a diagram shows the number of individuals with each variation of a variable feature. For example, a species of a plant called the kidney beech has flowers that show variation in color. A student counted the numbers of plants with each color of flower growing in a small area of a field. She recorded her results in a table like this one. And as you can see here, she made 3 rows. 1 row for the flower color, 1 row for the tally, and 1 row for the number. In the color row, she put the colors of the flowers: red, pink, orange, yellow, and green. And for the tally row, she put stalks. Each stalk represents 1 flower color. For example, if she found 1 red color flower, she will put 1 stalk, and so on. After she finished the tally row, she put the numbers of stalks in the number row. For example, for the red flower color, we have 5 stalks. So in the row of the number, she put 5. And she put 2 for the pink, 3 for orange, 9 for yellow, and 3 for green. After she finished her results table, she drew a diagram like this one. In this diagram, we have 2 axes. One axis represented the number of plants, and the other axis, which is the x-axis, represented the flower color. Here, we can show the pattern of variation in a group of organisms using frequency diagram. About the plant kingdom, and we said the plant kingdom has 4 main groups, which are mosses, ferns, conifers, and flowering plants. The first one, mosses, which have thin leaves and a spore capsule, which is a structure that produces spores for reproduction. And the second group, ferns, which have leaves called fronds, and at the back of the fronds there are spores. The third group, conifers, which have narrow leaves called the needles and some cones which contain the seeds. The last group, flowering plants, which have flowers, fruits, leaves, and stems. About the animal kingdom, and we said it is divided into 2 main groups, which are vertebrates and invertebrates. And we talked about vertebrates, which are animals with backbone or spine, and this group of vertebrates is divided into 5 classes, which are fish, amphibians, reptiles, birds, and mammals. For fish, we said it has scales, fins, and gills. And for amphibians, it has 4 legs and smooth, moist skin. The amphibians lay eggs in the water. Their young live most of their lives in water, so they breathe using gills. And when they become adults, they breathe using lungs. because they can live on land. We talked about reptiles, which have scaly skin on its body, and most of them have 4 legs except the snakes, they lost their legs. Also, we talked about birds, which have a beak, 2 legs, wings and feathers. And we talked about mammals, which have hairs on its body, and also they can give birth to the young and feed their young on milk. The drawings show some vertebrates. Decide which of these classes each of these vertebrates belong to. As you can see here, the first vertebrate is bird, and as we know, bird, it has feathers, it has a beak, 2 legs, so it is classified as bird. The second vertebrate here, it has hair on its body, so it is classified as mammal. The third vertebrate here, it has hair on its tail and on its head, so it is classified as a mammal. The first vertebrate here on top, it has 4 limbs and it has moist skin, so it is classified as amphibian. Then we have manatee, which has hair on its whiskers, so it is classified as a mammal. And we have here tree frog, which have 4 limbs and moist smooth skin, so it is classified as amphibian. Then we have crocodile, which has 4 legs and it has scaly skin, so it is classified as a reptile. Then we have a vertebrate which has scales on its body, so it is classified as a reptile. Then we have a monkey which has hair on its body, so it is classified as a mammal. Then we have another vertebrate which has fins, gills and scaly skins, so it is classified as fish. About the invertebrates, which are animals without backbone or spine, and we said it is classified into 3 groups, which are mollusks, annelids and arthropods. The arthropods is divided into 4 groups, which are insects, arachnids, crustaceans and myriapods. Let's have a look on mollusks. As you can see here, mollusks group includes snail, slug, octopus, right? So it has some characteristics. What are these characteristics? Number 1, they are animals with a soft body. Number 2, they have a muscular foot which they use to move around. Number 3, some mollusks have shells. Like the snail here, it has a shell. The second group, annelids. Annelids group includes worms, like the earthworm. And also it has some characteristics. Number 1, they don't have legs, but they do have tiny bristles called cheche. Number 2, they are worms with bodies divided up into rings or segments. Like the earthworm here, it has a segmented body. Number 3, arthropods. Arthropods group, as you can see, it has a lot of invertebrates like butterflies, bees, flies, crabs, scorpions, spiders. So it has too many invertebrates. But all these invertebrates, they have 3 main characteristics. Number 1, they are invertebrates with jointed legs. Number 2, their bodies are divided up into segments. Number 3, they have a skeleton on the outside of their bodies called an exoskeleton. Arthropods are the most common kind of animals on Earth. There are several different groups of arthropods, and we are going to take 4 of them today. So this means arthropods group is divided into 4 groups, which are insects, arachnids, crustaceans and myriapods. Let's have a look on insects. Insects are arthropods with 6 jointed legs. This means it has 3 jointed legs on each side. Number 2, their bodies are divided into 3 parts, which are head, thorax, and abdomen. Each of these parts are made up of several segments. Most of them have 2 pairs of wings attached to their thorax. Number 4, their legs also are attached to their thorax. Number 5, they have 1 pair of antennae on their head. The second group of arthropods is arachnids. Arachnids are arthropods with 8 jointed legs. This means they have 4 jointed legs on each side. Number 2, they don't have wings or antennae. For example, spiders and scorpions. The third group of arthropods is crustaceans. Crustaceans, they have more than 4 pairs of jointed legs. So this means on each side you will find more than 4 jointed legs. They are arthropods with an especially tough exoskeleton. This means if you find any animal with exoskeleton, it will be classified as crustaceans. For example, lobsters, water fleas, and woodlice. The fourth and the last group of arthropods is myriapods. Myriapods have many pairs of jointed legs, which is more than 4 or more than 6. You will find them too many legs on each side. Number 2, we have 1 pair of antennae. For example, millipedes and centipedes. Talked about the sun and we said it appears to move across the sky during the day from east to west. And this happens because the earth is turning from west to east. And we talked about the earth. We said the earth spins on its axis once every day. That's why we have day and night. And we said that the earth axis is the line joining the North Pole to the South Pole, like what you can see in the picture here. Okay. The earth is a sphere. Because of this, half of the earth will always be facing towards the sun and the other half will always be facing away from the sun. So, the half of the earth that is facing towards the sun has daytime, and the half of the earth facing away from the sun has darkness or nighttime. Also appear to travel across the sky during the night, and its direction is exactly like the sun, from east to west. And this is because the earth is turning from west to east. Okay? And here I don't want you to be confused. If I ask you why the sun or why the stars appears to travel from east to west, you will tell me only one answer. Because the earth rotates on its axis from west to east. Okay? Don't forget this one. Okay. And now we are going to talk about the star pattern. What do you mean by star pattern? This means that the stars are going to make some pattern or some shapes in the night sky. The brightest stars in the night sky seem to form patterns. These patterns are called constellations. So now here, constellations means the pattern of stars in the night sky. Okay? In your course book there are 2 constellations and you need to know them. Okay? These constellations are Orion constellation and Cassiopeia constellations. And here, as you can see, they have different patterns or different shapes in the night sky. Earth revolution means the earth revolves around the sun. As you can see here, the earth revolves or moves around the sun. And it takes approximately 365 days, or we can say 1 year. Okay? The path that the earth takes around the sun is called the Earth's orbit. As you can see here, the Earth is moving around the sun in an orbit. And this orbit is an elliptical shape. It is not a circle, it is elliptical shape. Okay? Don't forget this one also. And also in grade 5, we took that because of the Earth revolution, we have the 4 seasons, which are spring, summer, autumn, winter. We see different constellations at different times of the year. For example, Orion is easy to see from November to February, but it cannot be seen from May to July. What is the reason? This happens because of the movement of the Earth around the Sun once each year, or you can say because of the Earth revolution. Okay, now we reach to the end of our lesson. I hope you have enjoyed today's lesson. See you next time.